What is going on, guys? Pat in the shop, and tonight we're talking parts for a 383 stroker. This is a nice street strip build, 485 horsepower, without blowing a huge budget. Let's check it out. So tonight we're talking 383s, and not this 383. This 383 we're going to be running on Saturday. I'm going to do a collaboration with Alan Gold from Gold's Garage, and we're going to be dyno testing this 383. But the one we're going to be talking about tonight was the affordable 383, which made 485 horsepower and about 495 foot-pounds of torque. We did all this without blowing an extravagant budget. Nothing is cheap nowadays, but we were able to put a combination together without real exotic parts. It's all good stuff, but got good prices. So this combination I end up installing on in a C10. The drivability is fantastic. The power is awesome. This makes so much torque. It's such a fun truck to drive. When I installed the engine, we actually did ACE's fuel injection, throttle body injection in this thing as well. And so I got to get familiar with the software and the tuning of it. So I actually ended up driving this thing for a week and a half, 2 weeks, back and forth to the shop. Drove my daughter to kindergarten in it, and I liked it. I didn't even want to give it back because this engine combination worked really well in this truck. So, but I wanted to give you a quick breakdown of the parts we use. I'm not going to go through every part number in the video. What I'm going to do is just go through a quick rundown, and then I'll just put the part numbers in the description below. If I forget anything, let me know. But there's might be a bunch of little details, but as the main part components go, the main things, I'll put them in the description down below, and you guys can copy and paste it and check them out. But there's obviously, as I go through, there's obviously ways you could change things or make them better or suit your needs. But I'll just give you what I used and what we ended up with. So let's start with the block. So if you're going to want to build an affordable 383 stroker, you're going to want to start with a later block. This is a one-piece rear main seal that has the provision for the roller cam. The reason why you're going to want to do this is, number one, you're going to want a roller cam to make this kind of power easily. And number two, if you use an early block, you have to use retrofit. So retrofit lifters are the tie bar lifters, super expensive. Where these later blocks, they were set up for a roller cam, so you could easily use like LS style lifters, which we used on this. We used a set of LS7 lifters, and a roller cam step nose camshaft and a roller camshaft, hydraulic roller. So you're going to want to grab yourself a late model block. So in this case, on that engine we used an 880 block. It was a 2-bolt main, added ARP studs, had it line honed, the hot tank, crack test, decked it to 9 inches, so the decks were cut down to 9 inches, and I did the stroker clearance on it, and we bored it 4030. So actually 4031. I like to throw a little extra clearance on those stroker pistons. Makes them a little bit noisy when they're cold, but if you actually look at the recommended wall clearance and piston gap, ring gap clearance on the Hyper-Eutectics, as you increase power, that has to increase. And unfortunately though, when you do increase on those short script pistons, if you do add a little extra wall clearance, you do get a little bit of a piston slap noise at when it's cold, but it goes away as soon as you get some heat into the motor. The rotating assembly is an Eagle rotating assembly, your basic 5.7 rod 383 stroker kit, cast crank, forged rods, the Eagle SIR rods, and Hyper-Eutectic pistons. There are some better options with pistons. I was hoping this kit, the way they advertised it, wasn't the pistons I was hoping for, but they worked fine. They're kind of like a dish piston with just a ring around the outside, so the quench isn't as great as it could be, that's for sure. 12cc dish. The valve reliefs aren't huge in these pistons, and actually with the camshaft we're running, so make a note of this, with the camshaft in the 1/6 rocker arms on the intake valve, we only had about 70 thou piston and valve clearance, which is plenty in my opinion, but just keep that in mind. So if you're changing up the cam or changing up the timing or changing up rocker arms, you're going to have to verify that. You're going to want to check that with any build, but just keep note with this pistons and the camshaft we used, the intake valve clearance was a little on the tighter side, but obviously fine. The cylinder heads we used were they're set like these ones right here. These are your Skip White 200cc aluminum heads, 202 intake, 1.6 exhaust valve. You're not going to find a better head for the money. Skip White offers these at a fantastic price. The hardware he puts in them and everything is really good. You can get them set up for flat tappet, roller, whatever you want. He also offers cutting them down to 60cc now after I bugged him about that. So these ones right here actually cut to 60cc. And he drilled them for steam holes. He said he won't typically do that. He'll just push you up into the AFR enforcer head. So an option if you're wanting to build this is the Skip White heads are a little cheaper, but you could also run a set of the AFR enforcers. It's the same casting. The AFR enforcers are a little bit more money, but they run pretty wicked valve and spring setup in them for the money. So just keep that in mind. And I think they come with the guide plates and stuff, which these ones do not. So it all adds up. So and a lot of people like to see that AFR logo on the front of the engine. So if that's worth anything to you, you can build this combination with the AFR enforcer heads. I did mild kind of port cleanup and chamber cleanup on the heads. Not real any serious porting, but I did back cut the valves, the intake valves, put a 30-degree back cut. So you could run them as is, or you could go ahead and do that, or have your machinist do that. But obviously, it's an added cost. I can't tell you how much that's worth in power, but it'll be worth a little bit. So if that, if that's something that you want to do, you can do it. But if not, it's not going to totally kill the combination or anything like that. The oil pan. So check out this oil pan from Champs. It's for a one-piece rim and seal block. The same one that we're using on this engine right here. It's got a crank scraper, windage tray. It's just a 5-quart pan. Looks like a regular pan. It's got all these nice little bonuses added into it. They offer a bolt-in pickup. We used a high volume pump, so it'll be a different, if you're using a standard volume pump, it'll be a different pickup, but we used a high volume pump on this. I like to run high volumes on street builds with roller cams, or hydraulic cams, sorry. You get a little bit more oil pressure down low, lower RPM. So just my preference. You can run whatever oil pump you want. Just make sure you're running the appropriate pickup for your setup. But check out this pan from Champs. Really nice pan for the money. Intake is from Summit Racing. It's a stage 3 Summit Racing intake. The heads we run, they're drilled for the Vortec pattern and the standard small block Chevy pattern. So when you the intake I used, you'll see is the Vortec pattern. Just because I had the intake was brand new. Those Summit Racing intakes are really good. I feel like they've gone up in price. They used to be a little bit better price, but they're a good flowing intake, dual plane air gap style intake, kind of similar to what we used here. Pretty good combination or choice for this setup. You could run a little bit lower rise intake and have very similar results, but this is definitely dual plane territory. Like, it makes peak power 5800. So if you're single plane, will probably kill some of that torque. You might pick up a little bit of peak power, but I definitely keep it a dual plane if you're looking at different intake options. All right, the camshaft. The camshaft we ran on that engine was a custom grind. I actually got this cam from Richard Holdner quite a few years ago. He was selling some stuff and asked him about some camshafts, and he had this camshaft. And I kind of kept it as a cam I wanted to use in a 383. So when this build came up, I decided to use it. It's a custom grind comp cam, 230 on the intake, 236 at 50 on a 107 lobe separation. That's a 280, 288 advertised. It's got about 577 lift, 572 with a 1.6 rocker arm. I'll give you guys a picture of the cam card. I installed it at 104. So it's a 107 lobe separation installed at 104. Again, this camshaft, great drivability on a 383 stroker, great sounding idle. And vacuum, it makes around 11 to 12 inches of vacuum when I had it in this truck, which is right on the borderline for power brakes of what I recommend. Driving down the road, it works fine. It's the only time you're going to notice when you start getting a little vacuum is if in the parking lot, if you hit the pedal a couple times, you're going to lose your vacuum. It's not going to come back super fast. But everyone wants that nice sounding idle, the performance, and the vacuum. It's hard to have all three, but this is kind of a balance of all those. So check out this camshaft. You can get comp cams to make it for you, or any of your cam manufacturers. You can send this cam card and they can provide something very similar. But it worked really good. I would definitely use it again, or something very similar. We used a set of 1/6 rocker arms with this. You could use 1/5s if you want, but obviously you're going to lose a little bit of power. We used the 1/6s. We use the Comp Cams rocker arms. I like those rocker arms, made in the USA. The bearings, well, they claim made in the USA. It's actually just the bearings made in the US and the bodies are offshore. The only thing I find with those rocker arms is no matter what I use them on, they have a bit of a sewing machine sound. I've had subscribers reach out to me about this, and sometimes they don't believe me that's the rocker arms. They end up swapping them and the noise goes away, but they have this little bit of a kind of a, not really a tick, but more of like a sewing machine sound. Every cam, every combination I use those rocker arms on, I've noticed it. The other option would be, if you want a really good rocker arm, would be Scorpion. Scorpion rocker arms are really good, made in the USA, and I find they're quieter. So it's just an option. I've never had a failure with the comp cams. I just noticed they're just a little noisy. I don't know what it is. You can adjust them all you want, do whatever you want. They're just noisy. So there's a quick part breakdown for our 383. If you have any comments or questions, put them below. I'll try to get to them, and I'll add to the description as questions come up, and add information. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you built similar combinations, or if you're planning on building something like that engine. Look forward to this one coming up. We're diving in on Saturday. This is a little bit more compression, a little bit more cam, a little bit more head flow, so it should do pretty good as well. And we'll see. Never know. We'll have some dyno fun with Alan Gold and Gold's Garage on Saturday. Thanks, guys.